Hey everyone, it's Jen Foster here with the Elite Expert Insider Podcast. We're really excited today to have a guest, Chris Prefontaine, and he is the chairman and founder of Smart Real Estate Coach. He's a 4 times best-selling author, and he's a former Forbes Business Council member and a 3 times Inc. 5000 honoree for the fastest growing company, Wicked Smart. He also has a podcast called the Smart Real Estate Coach Podcast. And we're really excited to have him on and talk about real estate on your terms. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit, how did you get into real estate in the first place?
Oh gosh, I grew up around a family business that had nothing to do with real estate. It was a welding business, but my dad would build his own buildings and lease them back to his company. That was my first exposure to, what do you mean you're the same person? I was probably 10 years old trying to figure that out. How do you build your building and rent it to your company if it's you? So I've learned that. And then he hung out with and dabbled in real estate. So he hung out with people that are just entrepreneurial and did real estate on the side always. But that's what I was exposed to. And then, gosh, I'm going to date myself here, but some of you listeners might remember back in the day, Earl Nightingale had self-improvement stuff out. And I was driving to one of our stores in my family business, and I heard him give an idea about during the Depression, how somebody would go around and talk to landowners and stick a sign in their yard. So I thought, oh, that's cool. So I got home. That was back in the day when we had recorders and for the phone message. So I set up a phone line, started approaching landowners and putting a sign in their yard. And then I contacted a builder and said, can you put a package together? And we basically marketed a finished product. That was the first thing I ever did and started doing my own deals then. That was 1991, 34 years ago. So yeah, that's how I got involved. That's how I got started.
So you've been around for a while.
A bit.
Tell us, what does it mean for real estate on your terms? What does that mean to you?
That's just, when I came out of the 2008 crash, there were some sort of rules, if you will, that I set up. I've been married 39 years. And at that time, my wife said, I had my head in the sand for 4 years after the crash. She's like, you got to get back at it. So when we got back at it in 2012 or 13, I said, all right, let's establish what we will never do again, because we got beat up pretty badly. And there were things like not using bank, not signing personally, not using a lot of cash, not getting paid once on a deal so you feel like you're on a treadmill, all these things we set up. Once I did that, somebody said, you should write a book. I'm like, no, I don't have the slightest idea how to do that. But then as I started looking at stuff that was out there for training, books included, but courses and books, it was like everyone who did one would hold back stuff. So I wanted to put a book out. And I wanted to call it Real Estate on Your Terms, only because that meant I can design the deals. But what it really means, Jen, is nothing more than creative real estate, that you can dictate how you do it.
Yeah. So let's dive into, what do you mean you can buy something without the bank? How does that work?
Yeah, because prior to the '08 crash, I had been at it already, whatever that is, from 91 to what, 17 years? Yeah. And I didn't do it. I just did everything conventionally. So we buy 3 ways, and none of them include banks. And then I'll give the punchline at the end of that. Financing, where you buy a property and you pay the owner.
So the owner is the bank in their kind.
In that case, yep. And we niche it down too, Jen. We look for free and clear, no mortgage. Makes it a lot easier conversation. It's off market. They just want the best price. They have time. They're not stressed. That's one way we buy. Second way is subject to existing mortgage, meaning I buy your house. You want out. This is a different avatar than a free and clear. You want out and you need relief, and I buy your house and the loan stays in your name. I just make the payment. So I'm never signing personally and pledging my assets after going through the crash. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah. And then so that might be if it's a pre-foreclosure or something. I just need out of the house. I don't want it anymore. Okay.
Yeah, totally different seller than free and clear. It's nice to have a mix. And then the third way, we actually don't buy, we control, and that's lease purchase. So the mortgage stays in the seller's name still, but the deed does not change hands. I just lease with an option to purchase, and I turn around and do a lease purchase with a buyer. So I'm in the middle. It can be referred to as a sandwich lease. You just can't do those in Texas, but everywhere else is fine.
Okay. So that's more if you wanted a rental, or why would you want to do a sandwich lease?
I talk to you, you're a seller, and you go, yeah, I'm not comfortable turning my deed over, but I'd like to get all my equity out and I can wait. So we'll switch to a lease purchase, because what they're basically doing is, quick example, you owe $250, you couldn't get $300 on the open market. I come in and say, I'll give you $50,000 equity that you didn't get on the open market. I'll give it to you on or before 3 years, and we'll do that with a lease purchase. That's all. Simplest form.
So do payments basically.
Yep. Yeah, we take over whatever payments are underneath, meaning the underlying mortgage. Whatever their mortgage is, we pay that. Now, caveat, we don't pay on any of these houses until we have our buyer in place covering that. So you're not ever going out on a limb.
I see. So if you go and buy something, you turn around and sell it to someone else, and you already have that buyer ready before you get the other one under contract.
Yeah, we sell it on a rent to own usually, as far as this, for the simplicity of the show today. That's the most popular, rent to own. Because in this market, especially, it doesn't even matter when this airs. It could air in 6 months. It doesn't matter. It's going to be
Yeah.
the same thing. And that is 82% ish, depending on where you are in the market. Buyers can't get financing today. It's just
Mm.
the bank and the underwriting is just terrible. So
Yeah.
we helped them get into a home, and a lot of them thought they couldn't. The interest
Mhm.
rates and all the stuff going on.
Yeah, that's actually how I purchased the home that I'm in, because
You
being
did.
self-employed and writing taxes off, you show you don't make any income. So the banks
That's
are like, you
exactly it.
can't buy a house. And I'm like, I know I can. I know I can make the payments and I know that I have the money. But they don't go by, because you are self-employed, they go by your last 2 years tax returns, which
Yeah.
shows that I don't make any money.
You're the entrepreneur is the ideal avatar because they have the cash,
Mm.
they have the credit, they just need some time for seasoning to start showing and playing the game to show the cash to get
Yeah.
finance. That's all.
Yeah. So if someone wanted to start getting into real estate investing, and they have something else on the side, whether it's a W-2 job or they're self-employed, is it a full-time thing? Is it a full-time gig? Do they have to quit everything they're doing and just focus on doing real estate investing, or what's your
Yeah, most people
expertise
that
on
come in our
that?
community are quite busy with a job. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
just reality. I can think of maybe a handful in last 12 years that said, yeah, I'm already full-time real estate. Now we start to pick up more and more of that because we have such a wide footprint now, how long we've been around, but still most of the people have a job. No, it's a part-time usually, but the goal usually, with very few exception, is that they want to exit their job. And
Yeah.
so we've specialized in that since 2014. We call it helping people escape their W-2. Which,
Yeah.
hey, why wouldn't I've been screaming this for a while. The job is the risk. And
Yeah.
every few months, I'll get a call from someone in the community going, Chris, I know you said this. Guess what? They let me go. One in
Yeah.
our community got let go by Microsoft 3 months ago. And then just a couple of days ago, another one got let go. I'm like, guys, I've been screaming this for a while. Get a contingency plan in place.
So what would you say, what type of real estate investing would you focus on if you did, say, lose your job or whatever? Would you go straight into wholesaling? Would you go straight into rentals, long-term, or Airbnbs? What kind of a real estate investing would you
Yeah, I'll
suggest?
call wholesaling the biggest myth when people now. I have a lot of friends in wholesaling, so this is not a
Okay.
poo-poo on them. But everyone is educated because it's been around that. Oh, I got to start there. Why? What? It's just another
Mhm.
job because it's like spinning plates. You're getting
Mhm.
small fees, and some are okay, but you're spinning deals and getting a fee. Okay, so
Yeah.
how do you sustain that? You do more deals, you hustle more, you do more.
Mm.
Now,
Which is
some
similar
people
to real
don't.
estate agent. They got to keep going
It
getting the
really
next
is.
house.
Yeah. That's why, by the way, what you said, that's why most states are now making them get licensed if they're wholesaling because
Mm.
they're not owning anything like we are. Yeah.
Just
No, I would
selling a
go right into
paper.
what we're doing because our system of getting paid 3 ways, the first payday is like a wholesale. But oh, by the way,
Mhm.
I'm keeping this and I'm staying in it. Now I have all these other paydays. That's the
Mhm. I see. So you wouldn't recommend wholesaling. You'd recommend the subject to, or the other one you talked about was seller financing
owner
or owner
financing. Yeah.
financing.
I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying have it in your bag of tricks, but don't think you
Mhm.
have to go do that. I got a call this
Right.
morning from one of our more successful clients that works with me in the
Mhm.
community. And he said, hey, Chris, I got a deal, but it's not going to be a 3 payday deal. I'm going to wholesale for some quick cash. He knows how to do it. Okay. So if you have that in your bag of tricks, it's another option. And if not, we'll teach you.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So how would you compare the difference between rehabbing, flipping to renting or having a rental?
Yeah, the rent to own is different because again, I alluded to it, but the 3 payday system, like flipping them one is I've done them all, but it's very competitive right now. The margins are
Mhm.
so thin, right? Number one. Number two, some people that don't know that's a territory that could get you in trouble. And number
Mhm.
three, it's a 1 payday deal. I'm not like real
Yeah.
estate treated me good over the years, but you get paid once and you got to go to another one. That's transactional. That was
Mm.
one of the rules I made that I wouldn't do again. So the big difference is the 3 payday. I call the 1 payday the old way of doing real estate when I
Mhm.
present it because it's antiquated. Why not create 3 paydays instead of one?
And so then you have you buy the house, turn around, lease it or rent it out, and then
Rent to
they
own, yeah.
end up owning it and then they buy it from you at the
Yeah,
end.
eventually. So like you experienced, I don't know how long you did it, but like most of our
I think it's like a
buyers,
year and a half or something.
very typical. Unless I'm in a deal I have a nice long term, like 10 years, or I bought
Mhm.
it sub two and I have no clock ticking with the seller. Then I might turn around to you in a year and say, hey, Jen, good news. I know you thought you had to go start reporting your income and do all that. Guess what? I'll own a finance you. You don't have to go to the bank. They're
Mhm.
ecstatic. So now I just turn my own financing into owner financing my buyer too.
Okay. I
And
like
I'm a
that.
bank. So now I have
Right.
3 paydays plus I'm a bank, 4 paydays
That makes it even better. 4
to
paydays.
stay in. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say with the market right now? A lot of people are saying, like, how do we know 2008 is not going to happen again? So how
Yeah.
would you say the market is right now?
Okay, a couple things. First of all, without breaking it down line by line, if you pick up Tony Robbins, I think it was his third of his 3 books on money mastery, he goes into great detail how and why 2008 regarding the massive amount of inventory overload and all those things that were going on in the banking crisis, why it's not even remotely close to what's going on now. And I agree
Yeah.
100%. Secondly, just like in 2013, when everyone and their brother told me not to buy, now is a great time to buy. See, in creative, and it's interesting, whenever there's turmoil or the media's screaming, oh, it's going to be a crash, that is exactly when the skill set of creative financing is needed and when the
Mm-hmm.
demand goes up. Now, when the
Right.
market's great, is it bad for creative? No, you just have to look harder to get deals. But
Mm.
when the market's not certain, and that's usually the case, creative real estate works awesome. And you can go to sleep at night going, I don't care what the market does. Like my wife will say to
Mm-hmm.
me often, she'll see something on the news. This happens all the time. Rates are going down. How does it affect you? Rates are going up. How does it affect you guys? How's it going to affect your community? I always say the same thing. Great. It doesn't matter because
Yeah.
you know how to pivot with it.
Yeah. That makes sense. And you're not really, it's not like a real estate agent or a mortgage broker. You're not, your business isn't run that way. So your business is more ran on, let's help the person in pre-foreclosure. Let's buy the house that's already paid off that they want to sell it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Mm-hmm.
people call us and say, my realtor told me to, now again, nothing against realtors. I owned a brokerage before, but my
Mm-hmm.
realtor told me to do a short sale. And I say, how about we just take over the payments and then you don't have the short sale on your record and possibly all these things following you in your credit for years. Great. But they get paid to do it. So they specialize in that and they do it. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay. I was in that world, but there's a better way. So the
Yeah.
realtors that are smart enough, frankly, to learn our system is a bunch in our community. They're brilliant because now they
Yeah.
can go be an agent or they could put their moral and ethical hat on the right way all the time
Mm-hmm.
and go to a seller. You know what might serve you better is if I buy it, but they can at least tell them the truth with what route to go. I
Yeah.
wish I had that in my bag of tricks when I was a realtor.
Yeah. And I like that you talked about the morals and ethics because I think a lot of times someone will say real estate investor and they automatically think, oh, they're just going steal people's houses or
Predatory.
don't give them the value of what it's worth and that kind of thing. Especially like flippers. You've heard people say real estate investors that flip houses are scammers or whatever, right? But the truth is they're helping the community in making the house look nicer and they're helping that person so they don't go into that foreclosure. So I love that you
Yeah,
talked about helping
I
people.
love them. I have nothing bad to say about them either. The only thing is the sellers, when we call the sellers, they'll go, oh yeah, you want to steal it? No, because they have to buy 60 or 70 cents on the dollar. That's
Yeah.
normal. But we
Yeah.
don't. We can pay full market value. So there's a big
Right.
difference.
Yeah, that's a really big difference. Awesome. So I love that you talked about the 3 paydays and the 4 paydays. So you talked about that system. Is there like a main question people ask about that to help it explain it a little better?
Yeah, just I can define them, and if you want me to peel it back, I can. So
Yeah.
payday one is what? Payday one is like you. I don't know if you had to, but most buyers who are set up like you experienced, they come in with a down payment. They were ready to. They just didn't know they can't get financing. So that's payday one, down payment.
Mm.
Well, it's your commitment. Just like if you bought it today, you have to do that, but you're just not going to have a loan yet. That's payday one. So that's the now money. Why go wholesale when you can get that check? The payday two is, okay, I'm paying something on the underlying mortgage or directly to the seller, and I'm collecting something higher than that from my tenant buyer. So when you paid whoever you paid for your tenancy, they paid the payment on the house and they kept the delta. That's payday two every month.
Right.
So I launch one house and I launch an income stream for years. And then payday three is all of my principal pay down throughout the term of that deal that accumulated, which is nice. And I'll give you a punchline on that in a minute. And then any markup I did. Now the punchline on the principal pay down is this. On the free and clear properties, we do almost every time principal only, no interest. Picture that with the rates the way they are now. You
Mm.
get no interest. That's better than interest.
Wow, that's really good. I love that there's 4 paydays because, like you were saying before, if you just do a real estate a agent, they just one time, or a wholesale deal, it's one time. So I like the 3 to 4 paydays.
Yeah, I
That's
did it. And
great.
every January I'd go, oh, like I did 100 homes a year in the 90s as an agent, which is a lot of homes, at least it was then. By January, I'd be like, oh man, I got to reset the clock and do this again. So my excitement would go, blah,
Right.
just back on the treadmill.
Tell us a little bit, how do you control all these? I don't know how many transactions you've done, hundreds of real estate deals. Like, how do you control that? And how do you do it without your own, like without money, like a little bit of money or no banks? How do you do
Yeah.
that?
So the owner financing deals, even if there's no money, which most of the time they are, we usually have to, because we're putting no money down, we usually have to pay the seller's transfer tax if the state has it. Most states do. So you are going to come up with a little bit of money, and I'm
Hmm.
talking in the 1,000 to 4,000 range, not astronomical. And you buy lease purchase, there's a $10 deposit built into our agreements, pre-written. You're just tying the property up, $10. And then on the sub 2 deals to existing financing deals, you might have arrears, you're catching them up, or you have to cure something. So there might be a few thousand there too. But if you're brand new and you want to start and you go, look, I literally can't do even 1,000, then you do lease purchase. We had a guy in Chicago, Brian, who did his first 9 deals, lease purchase, $10 a piece, 9 deals. He accumulated over 800 grand in 3 paydays in those deals with $10 a piece. And then he understood the power of owning later because you get to depreciate it and all these other things. And he transitioned. But as a new investor, it's like a safety zone to go, okay, I'll tie all this real estate up with $10 a piece on these lease purchases. And it's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what if someone says, "Oh, I heard you only can have 10 houses." What's the myth of the 10 houses? Is that
I
with
don't know. One
mortgage?
myth is that you talk about maybe banking because some banks go like government loans, you can do 4 or 5, whatever it is per bank. No, that you can do as many as you can get your hands on if you're doing them for yourself. We went into COVID, Jen, with about 76 properties we had. Our family, not the community, has a lot more.
Yeah.
We're in 80 markets in the community with Stuart. Just our own, we had 76. Now, not one single property in that 76 were we on a personal loan. So when COVID hit, albeit it was bad in other ways, from a property standpoint, I wasn't worried about it at all because we were not signed personally on anything. You have all the leverage.
So you just structure the deals in a creative way, like you were saying, creative real estate, so that if there is a crash or if the rates go up and down, it doesn't affect you.
No, it doesn't, because you can renegotiate. Out of 76 properties, we had 4 that had headaches. Now, if I was a landlord with 76 rentals, I would have had 76 headaches potentially. And the landlord would agree with that. We had 4. We had a couple that were like legitimately hurt by COVID. We had a couple that were taking advantage of the federal rent abatement thing. But that's not bad out of 76. You know why? Because they were all buyers looking at financing. Regardless of what the government told them they could do, they won't get a loan if they stop paying. So that's why it's a whole different environment and quality. Like you're a quality buyer, you did that versus a renter.
Tell us where people can go to get more information, to find out more about you. You have a podcast, right?
Yep. smartrealestatecoachpodcast.com. As you said earlier, thank you. The main website is just Smart Real Estate Coach, but I'm big on free, Jen. I'll give the audience 2 things.
Okay.
One is I'll send you out our free books instead of going to Amazon. And it's not one of those free offers that say, oh, by the way, put in $8 for shipping. It's free. We'll ship it, our cost. Just go to wickedsmartbooks.com/elite expert. And then that way they'll get that and I'll know it came from that and I'll honor no charge. And then if they want to look, like I have a 8-minute workshop. It's a replay, so nobody's going to be bugging you. Just go watch it. And if these things get your attention, okay, then let's chat. Just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/masters class.
Awesome. We'll put those links up in the show notes. So much for being on the show today. If you podcast, please share it with someone that you know that would help out, and subscribe as well.
Hey, are you looking to increase your revenue, build credibility, and elevate your brand? This podcast is brought to you by Elite Online Publishing, an innovative publishing and full-spectrum marketing company. They will publish and market your book to make it a #1 bestseller. Becoming an author is the best way to market your business. So contact them at eliteonlinepublishing.com today. All of their authors become #1 bestsellers.